citizens their right to express their views. Everyone desiring to speak should have either signed the appropriate list in the foyer or email the city clerk prior to the posted time of this meeting. Each citizen shall give his or her name and address, and in order to provide a proper record of these comments, the rules allow each person 3 minutes to speak. A citizen may pass his or her time to another person who is requested to address council. However, no citizen's remarks shall exceed 9 minutes in total. Let's see. I'm not sure if this applies, but the language about as far as the extended time is, Miss City Clerk, is there an extension by majority vote of council past 9 minutes, or no? Right. Okay. So I will not read that. So please keep in mind, council cannot discuss. Oh, excuse me. I won't even read that either. All right. So with that in mind, Ms. Cravey, your time will begin. What I will ask before we start our clock, what I will ask, obviously you or any other citizens that are commenting this evening, obviously be respectful. Let's maintain decorum. If behavior or comments or heckling or whatever the case may be, if that is not the case, I will have our sergeant of arms go and escort you out of the chambers. Okay. All right. I don't think that'll be the case, Ms. Cravey, but just had to let you know.
Sheila Cravey, 4612 Country Club View. I implore the council to vote against 4A and 4B and any additional tax dollars being authorized for expenditure on the Boondoggle Golf Course. I find it ironic and sad that the city refused to purchase the Country Club Golf Course when it was available, and very soon after they realized they no longer had a suitable golf course due to the condition of evergreen. And now we are in this situation. When funding a new golf course was on the ballot, Baytown citizens voted against their tax dollars being spent on one. Somehow, our elected officials decided to circumvent the will of their voters and entered into the T36 agreement. This whole scenario was nothing but poor planning and apparently hubris on the part of the city council, who did not do their due diligence in making these decisions. The taxpayers of Baytown do not want to foot the bill for this. Vote against any further funding for T36. Be responsible custodians of our tax dollars and don't throw good money after bad. Do not rush into a bad deal. Take the time to evaluate options and get it right. Give your constituents a voice on any future expenditures for that location. I appreciate that our city manager provided his explanation of events in Troon's presentation. However, it is still my opinion that Baytown voters should have a voice on the future of that location and any more expenditures for it. Council must be transparent about any future agreements and potential cost. I am not convinced that golf will be profitable in Baytown. Perhaps Baytown should just sell the property to a private entity and pursue legal action against Build Baytown 1. Troon's presentation on popularity of golf may not be representative of our city's interests. I felt the presenter's comments on deterioration of the golf course were just a pressure salesman tactic, scare tactic. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, next I have James Kaminsky. He looks like you yielded your time to, I'm assuming that's Mr. Schoenbeck. Yes. Okay. All right, Mr. Schoenbeck, you have 6 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. Byron Schoenbeck, 4727 Blackstone Street. I think it's important to understand what we're actually voting on tonight and what we're not voting on. First of all, we're not voting on whether or not we like golf or not. There's plenty of people that love golf and want it in Baytown, and they're telling you to vote no on both of these items tonight. It isn't a vote to decide to either save an asset or throw that asset away. To be clear, if you vote no, the lowest cost option on there is cease operations and explore future options. That's not a dead end. The golf course isn't going to sink into the bay. If you notice from the presentation, their worst case scenario, which they tried to use to get a contract from you guys, said that it assumes no maintenance. And that's not the case. If you guys do that, you would maintain it. The windows aren't going to be boarded up. If you vote yes on anything tonight, let's just be clear. You are voting for a bailout of the bad developer. And why is that? I hope somebody in the comments can tell us, but if I were Troon, and it seems like Build Baytown 1 owes a lot of money to a lot of folks, I would assume Troon is one of them. If that's the case, and Troon knows that you guys are in a tight spot, they would probably negotiate that you bail them out of what Build Baytown 1 owes them. And if that's the case, you're essentially paying off their bad debt. They won't be able to collect that in court because you paid it. They won't have an action to go after Build Baytown 1 to collect that. You'll also be buying out his contract with Troon, essentially, even if it's a short term. Keep in mind that we already gave $6 million to this project, and some of that was supposed to go to maintenance and operations of the course. So any money that you spend to bail this out again is money that we've already paid, that we don't know if we're going to get it back. We have time to do this right. We have time to do a proper request for proposal, not just a 2-week ad in the Baytown Sun. We haven't even completed an assessment of what went wrong on the last deal. And here we are trying to rush into another deal that we're told it's a do or die situation. There is no do or die situation. There really isn't. Doing another rushed bad deal is only going to cause more resentment from the exact people you need to buy in to support this project. If you don't have the community support, you're not going to be successful. If you vote no on both items today, that actually puts total control back in the hands of this council. Your hands, and you can decide how to move forward. Not the mayor, not Troon, but you. You have a blank canvas. It's a beautiful property. You can do whatever you want to with it. You can turn it back into a disc golf course. You can turn it into any kind of park you can imagine. You could actually get the experts to tell you how to make a golf course that would actually work out there. We never put any kind of proposals out in any kind of Golf Digest magazines or anything like that when we did this first round. Let's go ahead and do it right. You can actually develop a golf course that's not a double loop. A lot of folks oppose this type of double loop golf course. They want either a conventional 18-hole or at least a conventional 9 or 12. But we're locked into that. If you vote yes tonight, essentially what we're locked into is the situation that we're in with Troon and a double loop golf course. If you vote no, you can still put up and pass a new agenda item, a clean one that funds exactly what you want to do in the next project. There would be a lot of support for that. You can pass a new item to budget money to finish out the clubhouse so it's ready to rent. You can do it the right way. You don't have to give a blank check to the city manager to execute a contract without your approval. Why do you paint yourselves in a corner and delegate all of your authority? We elected you to be our representatives and gave you our sacred trust and our sacred lawmaking ability. That doesn't do anything to help solve this problem. It just puts a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. Stop the bleeding first, assess what went wrong, and who is responsible first. Have town halls for the people to discuss what they want done with their property first. Don't box yourself into a corner with this company and this deal as if it's your only option, because it isn't. That's what they told us about the last deal, that was our only option. Evidently it's not, because we're here tonight. Vote no on both items and take back control. It's up to you. Thank you.
All right, thanks, sir. So next we have Mike Beard.
I cede my time to Mr. Manager.
Okay. Do you want to go now? I guess at this point, do you want to go now, or do you want to wait, Mr. Manager?
Sir?
You have 6 minutes. Do you want to go now? You're almost at the bottom of the list. But if you want to go now,
I'm good with 6 minutes.
you want to go now, or you want to go later?
I'll go now.
Okay.
Quick side note, in me trying to watch these council meetings on TV, I've been watching a lot of the content on our TV group here. The content, kudos to you guys. The content is really good. Parks and wildlife stuff, really good. Recommended. They're doing a great job. Just want to throw that in. Now, okay. Okay, so a little bit more on me about golf. I joined the golf team in high school. I was a golf letterman. My junior year, I played a bazillion holes of golf. I know golf well. I've seen golf courses all over the country. The reason I took up golf to begin with was I broke my left leg playing football. I broke this arm playing football. I broke this arm playing baseball. I blew out this rotator cuff as a pitcher. And now my ankles, because of being a tall guy in basketball, I played in the paint. And if you play in the paint in basketball, you are going to roll some ankles, and your ankles are going to get torn up. So out of physical attrition, golf was the only thing left I could play without breaking something. And so there I was. In those high school days of golf, two of my golfing buddies among many were Tom and Tim Hazelwood. And ultimately, historically, futuristically, it was the Hazelwoods who built this golf course. I've kind of got a connection to this golf course emotionally through the Hazelwoods. Also, Kim Kostick is here, and one of my high school golfing buddies was Kim's uncle, Buzzy McGuirk. And Buzzy and the McGuirks come from a long line of good golfers. So there all that is. Now, let's get to the issue at hand. It's well documented that I was in strong opposition to our first bite at this apple when we ultimately awarded this to Rio. I thought that deal was rushed. But what I was most upset about was I felt like we, in effect, through these long-term lease payments, we, in effect, gave them all of the land. We, in effect, gave them the clubhouse. We gave them the parking lot. We gave them the driving range at these long-term lease options. Plus, we paid them $6 million. And I didn't, that was upsetting to me for a long time. Now, here we come again with this second bite at the apple. And I got to tell you, I haven't liked the process. I think y'all are going into executive sessions too much and for too long. And I think y'all need to think about having more debate here as opposed to in there. And I'd ask y'all to take a look at that. But here's what happened to me. And it hit me after the Friday when the default became official. And it may have been yesterday that this happened. I'm not sure when I had this epiphany, but it hit me. That's our golf course. We own that golf course. We own that clubhouse. We own that driving range. We own the land. We own the golf carts. We own that. That's ours now again. What we gave away, we now have back. And I would rather us be in this position of control and Rio the hell out of here. I trust y'all more and this city more, and this is a city asset now. It's a wonderful city out there. I went out there today and looked around, and I'd been out there earlier, and there was a bunch, in the wintertime, it didn't look so good. I went out there today, and I was shocked at how good it looked. I mean, the greens, the fairways. I went in the clubhouse. There are obviously some challenges in the kitchen bar area, but council, I'm trying to tell you, this is a really quality asset that the city owns, and you got to protect it. You have to protect. It's a great asset, and I'm really tickled that we own it. Now, last week sometime I had a conversation with Miss Graham, and she brought up in that conversation something about, hey, maybe we do some kind of short-term temporary deal. We think about that, and I thought, well, that's a good idea. She mentioned to the end of fiscal year, which is September 30th. which that also makes me feel better about the city manager. I was concerned, as others have been, about the city manager having the authority as opposed to city council. But if we do a temporary agreement that ends September 30th, then after that we're going to have to do a new agreement, which then council will be approving. So I like that and I support that. I'm okay with that. It's my understanding that Mayor Capetillo, from what I'm hearing, might be supportive of this temporary arrangement that goes through September 30th. That expires, and then that's good. And what I've always railed about due diligence, and this proposed short-term agreement gives y'all plenty of time for due diligence. Am I getting there?
Well, you're there, and
there.
so I know you made a lot of comments about the Emmy award-winning folks in the back booth there. But if you can make your closing comment, please.
Well, I'm good.
You're done? Okay.
I'm okay, and just count. You got a great asset, protected. It's wonderful, and we got time to think about what we're going to do going forward. So, thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Thank you. All right. Let's see. I'll move down. Barb Brewster. Barbara. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Brewster. I'm sorry to call you Barbara. Ms. Brewster. Kim Kostick, you signed up for 2 items. I'm gonna let you go take 6 minutes. Okay.
You were tall. Kim Kostick, 5103 Ashwood Drive. I'm really glad that you mentioned that, Mr. Manager, because if anybody knows the history of my family with golf in Baytown, they were some of the first investors of the Goose Creek Country Club. So golf does run incredibly deep within my roots, and I grew up on a golf course. And so I love golf. I really do. I mean, I kind of suck at it, and I'm really good at top golf, but nonetheless, it is a wonderful pastime. But there are just a few things that I'd like to address. First of all, it is incredibly frustrating that it appears that rules are not really, I don't know, I guess meant to be broken, which is not the way it should be in this setting. This is, you are supposed to be representing integrity, and that's just really hard to say when it says, we'll just kind of change the rules. And I was really disappointed with Troon's presentation. I actually expected a lot more meat with that, and I do appreciate, Mr. Reynolds, that you weren't sure, but that was the agenda item, and that was one thing that I came to see, and I was hoping to see actually some numbers from them, a little bit different than the numbers that they showed me. One of the numbers, though, was that the downtick in private, which I found incredibly interesting, and the uptick in municipal. And it actually reminds me of Councilman Lester's comments when this was first voted, when it was mentioned multiple times, the $500,000 debt that would be incurred by Build Baytown 1. And that number kept coming on and on, like the municipal golf courses lose money, $500,000. And if they lose $500,000, it's their $500,000 that they're going to be losing, not our $500,000. So essentially, this puts us in another situation. Now, whereas I don't believe that if we did a short-term agreement, I kind of disagree a little bit. Then I think that if we didn't do a short-term agreement, that it would still give us some time to put out an RFP, to get some more information, see who's interested, which we might find that there's nobody interested because, again, the private sector, when it comes to golf courses, is going down because of the money. When you look at the Goose Creek Country Club, and it was very sad, and I remember conversations with my grandfather before it closed, and how he talked about how much money he had invested and other people were investing, throwing money in there, and then even after it didn't survive, Evergreen didn't survive either. And to say that we are dependent on a golf course to be able to build up this area, we've already shown that that's not necessarily the case. And, I'd really like y'all to think about that if you cease operations, we already know their pictures were quite lovely of what a golf course looks like, but we already know what an abandoned golf course looks like here in town because we've had two. And so it's very disappointing, and I really think that if we cease operations and we explore future options, that would be the most cost effective for us before we end up making another bad decision. And then we're here back in September and we're making some more, who knows, pressured decisions. And pumping the brakes is not going to hurt us. So there's the options, obviously, of selling or partialing. I mean, there's so many options, and who knows, listening to more of the community of what they think what those options should be. But I strongly urge you to pump the brakes on this. Stop making more bad decisions when it comes to these types of adventures. Look, I am a dreamer. I believe in looking at what the options and what we could do. Absolutely. And I want to bring business to the South Side, all areas of Baytown. Everybody here wants to do that. And we want to see our community grow. But just to throw money out there, again, what is Troon? They had, or what is it that they want? That transparency hasn't been given to us. How much their contract is, how much money that they've owed. This is the lease agreement in the contract. I've had it for a while. I've gone through, I've looked at it. I'm aware, and I'm sure some of y'all actually probably haven't gone through or even revisited these things. That is their debt. Build Baytown One's debt. And of course, Troon is going to fight for their money, but it's also incredibly disappointing that they weren't here tonight. If we just evicted or closed the doors and now they're moving out recently and they want this money and they want us to keep a golf course open, they could have been a little bit more present than a Zoom call that was moderately insulting. We are owed more. Our community is owed more, and I urge you to please pump the brakes. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. Looks like our last speaker is Jeff Walters.
Mayor, Council, my name's Jeff Walters, 2303 James Bowie Drive. To me, this isn't really about golf. This is about business. The city of Baytown doesn't really have a very good record in doing real estate. Everything they touch has been bad. Troon is a developer. They're here to make money. They're going to tell you whatever you need to hear so that they can get the contract to continue what they do. They're here to sell themselves. Put the hope in the people so that they would go with council agreeing to continue with this. My thought is stop it. Shut the place down. Put it on the market. It's beautiful right now. It'll draw top dollar right now. And get out of the real estate business. The Heights a disaster. The Brunson's a disaster. We can't even do Main Street. I don't understand what's so difficult. Trying to do special deals. Y'all are about infrastructure and public safety. These people got their stuff down. Y'all need to get yours down too. I highly recommend everyone vote no. I know people are trying to save face, but the city contracts are not working. City of Baytown constantly bleeds money. The lawsuits, why keep paying? There's much more than $6 million been spent on this. The city's wasted so much money with all the different things they do, trying to figure out what to do. We need to build Baytown, rebuild our infrastructure, upgrade our public safety, quit blowing money on dead-end dreams, I guess. This was an awful idea from the beginning. It was forced, in my opinion, and it ended up exactly the way I thought it would.
But it can get a lot worse if we keep funding it. So I recommend vote no.
Yep, thank you. So that's everyone who has signed up to speak. I do thank you for being here this evening. Obviously, it's late in the evening. We had a late start. But with that, I guess we'll move on, to item 4A. I think, were you going to